Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Minnie and it has been a moment since I filmed a makeup tutorial. I've been so busy, but now I'm back on the bandwagon and I'm going to try my best to continue this as much as I can. So last week, about a couple days ago, I did a makeup tutorial live stream, and unfortunately the video was very blurry, so you could not see any details and you could not follow and get an idea of how I do my makeup. So that was a requested video about what I do and the style of makeup that I do every single week. And today I'm going to redo that video just to kind of give you guys an idea, because the other one was so blurry and I want to apologize for that. But today we're going to focus on my live show makeup. Just to be different, I'm going to do another color, but it's the same idea. I do have many looks for my shows, so this is one of the looks that was also requested. So let's get into it and get started. Okay, first off, I'm going to use my MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus. When I go to shows, I get really tired and exhausted, and I just need this to kind of wake me up, since I always nap when I get into my hotel room. Just knock out and then wake up about an hour before my show, and then when I spray that on, it's like heaven. We're going to move on to the Sisley Primer. This stuff is basically to blur out all the imperfections in your face when you apply the foundation. It's gonna blend it out better and make it like super flawless. It's a pricey penny, but it's so worth it, and whatever I put on my skin, like underneath all my makeup, is so important, so I always want to focus on good skincare. Moving on, I'm going to use the Giorgio Armani Silk Luminous Foundation in the color 5.25, and with my beauty blender right here, I'm going to give it about 1-2 pumps and just put it all over my face. Just give it a nice dab. I like to dab it onto my face because it's giving me more coverage. If you want lesser coverage, you can swipe. But for me, I'm a full coverage kind of girl, so dabbing is necessary. Moving on to my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, I'm going to just give some little love in that T-zone area. This is in the color Light Neutral. Once again, dabbing motion. Next step, I'm going to grab my Fix Plus once more and spray this beauty blender. Then I'm going to grab my Prairie translucent powder and bake my face. This is so important for me to do because when I go on stage, I sweat a lot, and performing under the lights, it's going to break down my makeup, and I don't want that to happen. So somebody asked me in my live stream video about baking, and they always said that it never turned out right, and they always look kind of like harsh and dry. And I just want to say that, you know, baking is not for everyone. It's mainly for people who are kind of like sweating or oily, or if your skin is dry, then maybe you should try to use a powder, like a loose powder, instead of baking your face, because if you bake your face and your skin is dry, it's going to just make it even look more flaky if you don't moisturize well. And if your skin is older as well, it might come out looking very cracky. I don't know how to explain that, but so it depends on your skin. So just keep in mind what type of skin you are, then you should utilize the translucent powder to your advantage. If you have oily skin, use a lot. If you have dry, use little. If you don't want to bake and you want the same flawless kind of feel, then just use a loose powder. And what I use for loose powder is the Chanel finishing powder right here, which is really nice. Baking is not for everyday use. If you're just using your makeup like, you know, just a few hours, you don't need to bake your face. But if you go all day and you need your makeup to stay on, then baking is so necessary. And if you don't bake, use loose powder. Moving on to eyebrows, I'm going to grab my MAC 263 brush and my MAC eyeshadow in the color Espresso and Brun. Gonna mix these two colors together and then fill it in my eyebrows. Ah! Drop my thing. Drop my brush. Ugh. Clumsy girl. Okay, I'm doing a back and forth kind of movement here because this area I'm very like no eyebrows, so this is going to just shade in the areas where it's kind of starky. Give me some emotions. some expression. One eyebrow is done and moving on to the other eyebrow. I just follow my eyebrow bone and the hairs wherever it's leading me. I just do that, and that'll kind of distinguish where I should shade it in and where I should shape it. Eyebrows don't necessarily have to be even. I mean, if it's a little bit crooked, you know, it's not a big deal, because if it's crooked, you have more emotions, more expressions, and it just kind of gives you character. So don't worry about your eyebrows being a little bit off. Unless it's like completely, then you got other issues. But let's move on to hair strokes. I like to draw in some hair strokes in the beginning parts of my eyebrows, and I'm using the Dior Brow Styler in the color Universal Brown right here, number 1. So I'm just gonna give it some nice hair strokes in the beginning parts right here. And then this will kind of give an illusion that my eyebrows are somewhat real in a way, just to give that nice effect. So kind of like microblading, but not. And people always ask me, why don't I microblade my eyebrows? It's because I always change up the style, and I don't want to have a certain style for a long time. So some days I like it thin, some days I want them thick, and it really depends on the style and the trend. Especially if you microblade your eyebrows to be a little bit thicker, then you can't go back to thin. So I'm gonna go and use the other side to kind of like blend out that hair stroke effect. And then from there, I'm going to grab my Anastasia brow gel. This is the tinted brow gel in the color chocolate, and coat my eyebrows. Give it more of a dimension and make the whole look come together. So this will kind of coat my real hairs and blend into my fake hairs. There you go. That's how you explain it. Moving on to eyeshadow. I'm gonna grab my S142 brush and dig into the Pat McGrath palette. This stuff is so nice, and I'm gonna use the palette, the Mothership palette Sublime. So I'm gonna go into this color right here. This color is called Iconic, and this color right here, Dark. Give myself a nice swoosh on my lid, and this is going to be the base color for my eyeshadow. So I like to use the brown color because it's very neutral and it blends in with every single other color. So if you want to do blue, or you want to do green, or you want to do orange, yellow, or whatever color you want to use, this brown color will kind of give it more definition and set the tone. And once you have a base color on the lid, then the color that you put on top will intensify even more. So whether it's a glitter base or a color that's hard to pick up, like a pastel color, then when you have a nice base, it's going to pick up and intensify that color even more. So if you don't have a base, color's not gonna be pigmented as much. So that's why it's always good to have a primer on your eyes and on your face, because colors will intensify by a lot. With the same two colors, I'm gonna use this brush right here and kind of swoop underneath my lower lash line to give it a shadow right there. This brush I got a long time ago from MAC, and it's part of their holiday collection, so it doesn't really have a name, but it looks like this. And I always use this because it's so good to use underneath here and gives it a nice blend and picks up a good amount of color. And then from there, swooping underneath my lash line, the lower lash line, I'm going to go up here into this corner and then bring it up into this hollow area. So my sockets right here, you kind of just poke this into your eyes and you can see where it's leading you. So when you do that, you can blend back and forth, windshield wiper movements, and then slowly it will come together. You should kind of start to see a gradient if you see some sort of lines, then you haven't blended evenly. Just kind of slowly work through your eyelids and get to an area where you don't see any streaks or any lines. Next, I'm going to grab my Fix Plus and this brush right here, the No Name brush. Spray it, a nice coat of that Fix Plus, and then go into this color right here. This is the color VR Nectar. It's a nice pink kind of color, or maybe nectarine-ish. And then put it on my eyelids. See, when you spray with that Fix Plus, it's going to give you more of that coverage, and it's going to bring out the colors better on your lid. On top of that, you have that base to intensify as well. The Fix Plus helps it stay on, because this stuff is glitter and it might fall out, and I want it to stay, because this eyeshadow palette is a pretty penny. So let's hope it stays. You want to buy it and then it falls out. Not killed. And I'm going to slowly bring it up to my upper eyelids, like the midpoint, just to give it a nice blend as well. I'm going to do the same thing on my bottom lash line. Give it some nice glitter, some color here. Just 3/4 of my eyes, just like that. And then, once again, Fix Plus it, because this palette has a lot of glitters and I love glitter, so we have to keep these glitters in check. I'm going to go into the color Astro Ghost Orchid. Take this color and then just lay it in the inner corners of my eyes right there. Just to highlight that inner corner and enhance that area, and then blend out from the bottom to the top area. It's a very, very pretty pink color. From there, I'm going to grab my Becca highlighter in the color Champagne Pop and use my Hakuhodo 127 brush right here. Highlight underneath my eyebrow bone right here. It's going to intensify that eye some more, and then bringing it down to this area, blending it, making sure it's cute. No streaks, no lines. And then bring it down here to the outer parts of that highlight. And give it some more love, some more gold. Next up is eyeliner. I'm using the Uemura eyeliner in the color Black. Gonna line my eyes real quick. And at the ends, I like to give it a nice wing. Make it more dramatic. See that? Okay, so what I like to do is kind of lift up my eyes with this eyebrow brush right here, and then just kind of draw underneath. And this will kind of shade it in that area where it's white and make your eyes more connected. And when you put on your lashes, you don't see it, because sometimes people kind of have their lashes floating and you see this white area. It's kind of weird. So I like to just lift my eyes up a little bit and shade it in. Once I do that, I'm going to line my bottom lash line right here. After I do that, I'm going to go back into my Pat McGrath palette. I'm going to grab this brush and go into this color right here, which is Iconic and Extreme Black. And then just kind of blend out the outer corners to connect everything. So it's more darker. It gives you that more smoky eye effect. You can see this is more connected and this one's kind of like floating. So I want to kind of go back and then connect those dots. Let's curl my lashes right now. I have very little lashes, but this is a process and a necessary one, because this is going to help lift up my falsies when I put it on later. Kind of like a bra for your lashes. A slight lift for your falsie. Next up, I'm gonna grab my lashes and I'm gonna apply some lash glue to them. And then I'm gonna let these lashes kind of sit there and get tacky for a moment. And it's so important for it to get tacky, because once it's tacky, it can really just set on your eyes into place where you want it to lay. So while that's being dried up, I'm gonna grab my Lancome Booster XL, and this is going to be my conditioner, kind of like prepping my eyes for the mascara that I'm going to apply next. So give it a nice coat on your eyes as much as you can. This is going to help your mascara extend longer, be thicker, fuller, more drama. And you know me, I like it extra. The more, the better. The camera just completely went off on me and nobody was monitoring it, so I don't know when I stopped, but I think where it ended off was where I put on my mascara. This is the Lancome Monsieur Big Mascara, and I coated my bottom lashes with it, and it basically made my lashes longer and more intense. And what I did next was contour my nose with the Kevyn Coin Dual. I used my Hakuhodo brush right here. This is to snatch my nose, and I used this color right here. Basically drew 2 lines down my nose and blended out. Made sure that everything is nicely buffed and doesn't see any streaks and stuff. So once you keep going back and forth, you get that nice blend, then you know you're doing okay. Then you take this color over here on this side. Using my S127 brush, I highlighted my nose, the tip and the bridge of my nose, like that. And then from there, I used my Becca highlighter once more right here and highlight my cheekbone right here. This cheekbone, and then bring it into this area on the upper eyebrow bone and this area right here, and as well as this area. So I'm kind of just blending everything in this area together. The more the better. I like it extra. I just like to lay it all on and glow, shining bright as always. Then we have the chin as well, the Cupid's bow, and once again intensified some more the tip of my nose and a very, very thin line on the bridge, very, very thin. Using my brush right here, I'm going to brush my whole face. This is the S102 brush, and I do this every single time I highlight because sometimes if I don't, you can see the streaks and it's gonna look really weird in the sun. So it's always necessary to do this. Make sure that everything is nicely buffed out. I'm using my lip liner. I already drew on my lip liner because the camera went off, but I just want to tell you guys that I was using the Kat Von D Everlasting Lip Liner in the color Bow and Arrow. So I already just lined my lips, and I overline my lips all the time because I feel like it gives you that sexier plump and it just makes everything look more, I don't know, killed. Last step is the Fenty Beauty Mademoiselle lipstick. This is in the color Up to No Good. So I like this lip color because it's nice and moist, but at the same time looks matte. Once my lipstick is on, I'm going to grab my S143 brush and kind of buff out the lip liner to the lipstick. This brush will give it a better blend. And I think I want to add a little bit of moisture on my lips, just the inner parts. I'm using the KKW lipstick color in the brand Charlotte Tilbury and just dab on my lips in the inner part. And this is the last step, I swear. Using my MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus, seal everything together. Okay, so this is my every weekend routine for my makeup when I go on live shows. I hope you guys got an idea of what this process is like, and I hope it helps you guys kind of learn a little bit here and there of my tricks and trade. And oh, I forgot one more thing. This is what I always do. I use the LUS liquid glue. I go back into my eyelashes and I give it a nice line on top like this. And the reason why I do this is because I feel like it's a better seal. Once you do this, your lashes are not coming off at all. They're like solid stuck. So this is something I always have to do because I hate when your eyelashes come off in the middle of your performance or at the clubs, and it's just frustrating when you don't have any glue at that time and moment to fix it. So this is basically going to hold down like no other, just to give you that nice lift as well. If you don't want to lift your lashes as much, then you can just, you know, slowly bring it down, but just remember to seal in the corners, especially the inner corners and the outer corners, so that you don't have any issues with it falling off. This is my final look, and I don't have any time to get my hair ready because I am in a rush, but I will do that in a different video and show you guys how I get my big voluminous hair. voluminous hair. All right, so thanks for watching today, and any questions, concerns, or anything you want to know, just let me know down below. Sound off. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up right here, I think, and subscribe right here. Thank you for watching. Doodles!